Hey everyone, hope you're all having a wonderful day. Hope everyone is staying safe and warm and cozy. I know weather around the world is often crazy and weird, but right now where I live, we are in an intense deep freeze. So I hope everyone's doing all right. When it gets this cold, this is when I bring out my wool sweaters. It's llama. You know I like them. I can't help it. Today's video is going to be a makeup inventory video. I do one of these at the beginning of the year and then one in June. This is a way for me to keep track of all the little bits and pieces. Some makeup really takes up very small amounts of space and it's easy to get a lot of them. So this is just a good way to keep track of numbers from year to year. Before I get started, I have to thank you guys so much for 3,000 subscribers. How did this happen? I do not know. I started this channel in 2020. During the pandemic, I wanted to join in the Project Panning fun, and it's just been slowly growing over the past 4 years. So to all of you who have subscribed and are sticking around with me, thank you so much. This really means a lot to me. So thank you. Thank you. Also, if you enjoy the tea of the day, I always nerd out about the tea of the day. I usually do it at the beginning of the video. I've decided to move it to the end of the video so that those of us who, aren't into the tea don't have to suffer through it. But if you want to nerd out with me about tea, we'll do it at the end of the video. I always have a tea of the day. Okay, so let's get started. I will have a picture up on the screen for every category that I am mentioning. So starting with sunscreen, last June, I had 4 and now I still have 4, but it's a different 4 than last time. So these ones I rotate through pretty regularly. If it was up to just me and what I wanted, I would have tons of them and I would constantly be testing them. But to me, that just feels so wasteful because out of all of these products, sunscreen I think is probably the #1 item that has an expiration date. Well, that and mascara, I suppose. Just because sunscreen, if you use it past its expiration date, the SPF is just not as effective. So I try not to get too many and I try to use them up before I buy more. So I'm really happy with that number. Primer, back last June, I had 5. Now I'm down to 3. I don't really use a lot of primer. I'm interested in trying the sticky primers that everyone's so, into these days. I just have never tried one. I like to have a smoothing primer and I like to have a moisturizing primer. You could just use your face moisturizer for that, I suppose, but I don't know, if for some reason I'm doing my makeup later in the day and not right away in the morning, I like to use a moisturizing primer versus using my actual morning skincare, if that makes sense. So anyway, I like to have a moisturizing primer. I didn't use up any primers last year, so the going down from 5 to 3, I think it's because I gave a couple away. I was testing some, they didn't work for me, so I think that's what happened there. Eye primer and glitter glue, I have them both in the same photo. So I have the same one eye primer and the same one glitter glue that I had last June. So I don't expect these categories to change at all. I kind of want to try the Fenty eyeshadow primer, but really the Milani does well for me, so I really don't need to pick that up. Foundations, I had 8 last June. Right now I have 9. That's getting a bit up there in numbers for me, but I'm still feeling okay about that. I have a few that are close to empty or at least halfway finished. So, and I do try to space out purchasing of foundation so they're not all the same age. Right now I don't have any like BB or CC creams. I do have that Yensa BC foundation. That one I can never know like how exactly where to put that, but right now I'm going to put 0 in the BB cream section. Concealer, right now I have 5. Last June I had 4. This is a category, again, I try to do really careful purchasing in just because I know that they take me a really long time to finish. I'm not one that uses concealer to like highlight the center of my face. I feel like if you're doing that thing with concealer, you can really go through concealer much faster. I'm just putting concealer under my eyes, and then I like to use my potted NARS concealer for actual blemishes, which I forgot to do today because you can see blemishes. Anyway, 5 concealers, more than enough for me. That is fine. And I have 1 color corrector. That would be my Becca Undereye corrector. I like to use that when I'm wearing cool toned eyeshadow. I'm actually wearing it today. I feel like it keeps the purple or blue eyeshadow from making my under eyes look bruised. So I really like having that pink under eye corrector. I really like the Becca one. Powder foundation, I have 1. I've been trying to make this one work for me. It's not the right shade. I might end up giving it to a friend, but right now I still have it in my collection. Loose powders, right now I have 3, one of which is a tiny little sample size from Hourglass. Even that tiny little sample size though will last me a really long time. And I've been kind of wanting to try some different powders. I really want to try the Givenchy one, but I've been really holding myself back. I just have a difficult time finding powders that I like. So far, the ones I like the most are from Hourglass, which just makes me sick. Of course, that's the one I like the most. Anyway, so 3 loose powders. Pressed powder, I just have the one, and it's the same one I have had for, I feel like forever and ever. The one from number 7, which I still like for under my eyes, but you know, I'm not obsessed with it, I suppose. Powder bronzer, I have 1, the same one that I had last June. Moving on to cream bronzer, right now I have 6, including, you know, that includes a couple minis. Last June I had 4, so I've gotten a couple new cream bronzers since last summer. I'm happy with that number, that's fine. Contour, oh, I can't remember if I took an actual separate picture of this or if it's in the bronzer picture, but it's one of the little elf pots. It's a contour shade, so I don't count that as a bronzer. I count that as my one contour. and then I don't buy contour at all after that because I like never contour. Powder highlighters, this number really jumped up because I've been really enjoying testing highlighter lately. So last June I had 10, now I have 17. That's a lot. I could trim this down a little bit, but I'm just enjoying it. And so that's kind of the way it is. And then cream and liquid highlighter, last June I had 7 and right now I have 9. Same, I'm just really enjoying the process of testing highlighters and finding out what I like. So I've been enjoying that more than I ever thought I would. A few years ago, I didn't wear highlighter at all, and now here I am. I feel like everyone else is done with highlighter, except for me. I'm loving it. Powder blush, these categories, powder blush, cream blush, they always go up because I think blush is probably the number one thing I enjoy testing. In fact, I think blush might be the reason why I started getting more into makeup. I tend to just be very, very pale and colorless without some blush on. So I just really love my blush. So back last June, I had 19 powder blushes. Right now I have 23. And in the picture that I'm showing you, this is my blush, whole blush collection. And I didn't want to take everything out and lay it down because I rotate them. When I wear a certain color, I move it to the back of the current section so I know which ones I have used lately, and I didn't want to mess up my organization. So I just took a picture of them all, and I am sorry. I do have a video doing my whole blush collection if you actually want to see each individual blush. I can link that down below if you want. But anyway, in that big picture, 23 of those are powder blushes, and then moving on to cream blushes, 41 of those are cream blushes. And back last June, I had 37, so I have gone up a few in numbers. Again, not surprising. Blush, testing blush, it's a big part of my channel. Moving on to face palettes. I never used to collect face palettes. I started getting into them a little bit. I don't necessarily see myself going too crazy over face palettes, but I do have a few now. And in this category, I count anything, even if it's just a blush palette or a highlighter palette. To me, it's like a palette, so it all gets counted in this category. So last June I had 7 and now I have 11. That Natasha Denona Glam face palette, I never know whether to count that in my face palette collection or in my eyeshadow collection. I feel like I might have counted it twice last time accidentally as both an eyeshadow palette and a face palette, but this time I tried to remember. I only counted it in the face palettes. All right, setting sprays, right now I have 4. Last June I also had 4. I slowly, very slowly make my way through these. I could do with just 2, I think. 1 for like a moisturizing kind of dewy spray and 1 to actually make things stay. So I don't need 4, but you know, I'm slowly working through these. The one from Milani I actually haven't tested yet. That was just given to me by a friend, so that's a fun new one for me to test. All right, lipsticks. This doesn't just include bullet lipsticks. This also includes anything that is like a lipstick crayon, anything like that. So last June I had 28, now I have 31. So I have picked up a few more of these, which I'm okay with this number. And then moving on to lip liner, last June I had 11, now I have 13. So that means I've increased in 2. I'm kind of surprised by that actually. Oh, that might be because I tried one from Tower 28. Where'd I get the other one? I might have a new shade from NYX. That might be why. This is another category I try really hard not to buy, just because they take me so long to finish. But I do like lip liners, so there is that. Lip glosses, I'm actually really proud of this number. Well, first I got really proud when I counted, then I realized that this number is going down because I'm actually purchasing more lip oils, etc. So anyway, we'll get into it. Lip glosses, right now I have 16. Last June I had 18. For comparison purposes, In, let's see, January of 2023, I had 20. In January of 2022, I had 27. In January of 2021, I had 34 lip glosses. So now that I'm down to 16, that makes me happy. Partially that's due to using up a lot of glosses. My lips have also gotten more sensitive, so I've had to declutter some glosses. So down to 16, that is good. I like the size of this. I could definitely pare it down even more. We'll see how I do in the next 6 months. And now we're talking about lip oil. So right now I have 8, and back in June I had 12, which I only used up a few lip products last year, but it must have included lip oils. Since I have fewer than I did before. Oh, it's not just lip oils, sorry. This category also includes liquid lip balms, which I think liquid lip balm is my new preferred lip formula over glosses and everything else. Liquid lip balms. That includes like the Rare Beauty formula. Oh, so glorious. I find I have a really hard time finding ones that don't have mint in them, however. So if you have a liquid lip balm that you love that doesn't have any sort of a plumping or minty or menthol or anything, please tell me, because I love that sort of formula. Liquid lipsticks, not really a category I purchase very often. Right now I have 3. Back in June I had 5, so I must have given a couple away. Sometimes it seems like quite often I will try a lip product and immediately realize it's not for me and give it to someone. I don't mind giving something to someone if I've used it only once or twice. I mean, it has to be someone that I know, obviously, and they have to not care. But that does seem to happen for me quite often. So moving on to this last category of lip stains, lip vinyls, basically anything that doesn't go in the other categories. I have 5 of these products. In June, I had 7. Moving on to lip balms. Now this is a category that I'm very happy to see hasn't grown, because back in June I had 9. I still have 9. Depending on the lip balm, these can take an eternity to finish up or finish up very, very quickly. But these have just gotten so popular right now. I really want to try the ones from Rhode. I want to try the Naturium ones, and I've just been like holding myself back. I'm just like, no, I need to finish off some of these lip balms. So the fact that I have the same amount that I had last June, it's good. Has my camera been crooked this whole time? Yep, probably. Sorry. Okay, so now moving on to single eyeshadows. So in this next picture, again, I was getting so tired of pulling things out and putting things back. So I just literally took my drawers and laid them out. So hopefully this is okay. So anyway, packaged eyeshadow singles that are not creams. So things like the L'Oreal little powder pots, things like that. Right now I only have 6 of those. I really have restrained myself in not buying too many of these. And I had 6 last June as well. I think it's the same 6. Moving on to cream and liquid shadows, I actually have a lot less of these. I had 48 in June. Right now I have 35, and I did do a declutter, I don't know, was it last fall? And I have another one coming up that I will be doing as well. So I didn't use up any cream or liquid shadows last year, so I know that was from me giving things away or things going bad and me decluttering them. So now down to 35 cream and liquid shadows. Cream eyeshadow sticks, I had 4 in June, and I still have 4. Mascaras, this number has gone down a little bit. Last June, I had 15 mascaras, 8 of which were open. Right now, I have 11 mascaras, 5 of which are open. This number really fluctuates because if you buy makeup, often you will get a free little mini mascara with it. So this year, I'm gonna try hard to work through my backup of mascaras without buying more. That's going to affect a little bit my mission to try all the drugstore mascaras. I have such a long list, but I think I'm gonna alternate trying one that I want to try and then using one for my backup stash, just so that the ones in my backup stash don't get old. Anyway, down to 11 mascaras. Eyeliners, last June I had 13, and now I have 14, and that's because I purchased another Kaleidos eyeliner, which I love those, by the way. Those made it into my favorites last year. They're amazing. Eyebrow products, another category that I really do not have a whole lot of passion for, and I don't purchase very many. In June I had 3, right now I have 4. I have a clear brow gel, a tinted brow gel, or should I say 2 tinted brow gels, and 1 pencil. Okay, so now we're down to powder eyeshadow singles. Right now I have 137. In June I had 131, and I don't think I actually purchased any powder eyeshadow singles last year. I was just trying Last year I was tracking a lot of my single eyeshadow usage and I was not using them, so I was really holding myself from buying, but I did depot a couple palettes and put them in my singles, as well as I had some singles from Sydney Grace that were sent along when I ordered a palette. So that's where I have 6 more than last June. Admittedly, I'm now in the headspace where I want to buy singles again. I really want to try Clionadh, finally. I think back when I first started my channel, I actually did a video talking about brands I wasn't interested in. Clionadh was one of them, because back then when Clionadh was new, it took a really, really long time to get your order. Like, you could order and then like 6 months would go by and you would finally get it. They're a much bigger company now, so I don't think that's the case anymore. Let me know if you know, that has gotten resolved for them. But anyway, ooh, I don't know. This number might go up this year, but I'm gonna try not to go crazy. Eyeshadow palettes, last June I had 46. That includes anything bigger than a single, any sort of duo, trios, anything. I include them all in my eyeshadow palettes. Right now I have 50. So looking back on all these numbers are gonna change pretty quickly. I have a declutter I'm planning in February. And I know some of these categories, I have a few things that I want to give to friends, but I really wanted to get this video done in January. So I think the numbers will be different in June, but I guess we'll see. Do you do a makeup inventory? If you do, let me know. How's your inventory this year? Are you happy with your numbers? You have made it to the end of this video, which means you get to hear about the tea of the day. Today I am drinking from Teaviver. I believe this is called the Golden Snail black tea, and I guess it's called snail because of the way it looks when it's rolled. I personally don't think it looks like a snail, but I guess that's the reasoning for the name. This is a really delicious black tea that has a little bit of a fruity flavor. It's just a really solid, everyday drinking black tea. Teaviver is one of my favorite places to get Chinese tea. I'll make sure and link this one down below. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. Again, thank you so much for 3,000 subscribers. I can't wait to make content this year. So thank you again so much. I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye guys.